Hi, friends. So, I wanted to use a situation that happened today to me to help kind of illustrate just the real reality that I think we all can come to sometimes where we realize like things are just not good. We aren't on a path that is nurturing our emotions, that is supporting us. We have so many missing needs, like so many needs that aren't fulfilled, so many kinds of support that aren't there, and just realizing like there's a really big discrepancy between who we expect ourselves to be and who we actually are, what we think our needs should be and what our needs actually are. And I think most of the people in the world, they only get by because they are using addictions to numb, or they're just happy. Maybe some people out there are just happy in the discrepancies. It's not like connected to this huge string of trauma because they're not in a really jeopardized situation in their life. So before I get into this story for what happened to me tonight, an interaction with someone when I was out and about, I wanted to just say that there's okay, well I won't get into that. Okay, never mind. Okay, so let me just get into the story then. So tonight I was taking these dogs on a walk, the dogs that I'm caring for, and um, you know, I'm on my earphones with my friend, and we're talking, and we start to pass this guy, and I smile, I just smile a little bit, and we keep on walking. The puppy from the dogs that I'm with barks at him when we go past, and then the other adult dog goes towards him, tail wagging, wanting to be pet. Like the puppy's scared of people, but the adult dog, like, he will jump up and lick everyone on the face. This guy, like, he just kept on walking. I didn't think anything of it. And then when I get down the path more, this isn't a nature place, right? We're all alone, just me and this guy. When we are like 20 feet down the path, he turns around and yells something to me, and I have the earphones in because I'm on the phone with my friend. And I like kind of take it out, and he was yelling like, "You need to reprimand the dog." Like, he was really angry, and he's yelling something like, "You need to reprimand the dog when they do that. You're stupid," and just like being really angry and being harsh towards me. And in that moment, my automatic thing, I was just like, "I'm sorry you're scared, sir. I hope you feel better." And then I keep on walking. That's just my automatic thing. Like, I don't know this guy. Like, I'd like to be able to explain like your needs matter, but in order for me to be invested in your needs, like, you have to say things in a non-abusive way. Like, I can explain to you that that their dogs weren't aggressive. Like, he has some kind of fearful reaction, but these dogs aren't aggressive. The puppy was scared, and she just barks at people, but she would never do anything. And then the other dog was wanting attention, but I understand from his perspective, he doesn't know them. He obviously had something else going on in his emotions and his perceptions, and it caused him to react abusively. And for me, because I'm all out there alone, I have the dogs, but I'm not really thinking of them as like a protector. I kind of see it as, this guy is, would he have said that if I was a woman? If I was a weird looking woman at that? Would he? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. If I was a guy, um, probably he wouldn't have said anything. And so I, and I felt I felt like a lot of trauma come up, feeling really like a feeling I haven't felt in a long time, just a really painful feeling that I still feel exhausted from. This feeling that I um, was in a very vulnerable position, that I was being predatorized, that, I was being harshly treated in a way that was utterly unnecessary and in proportional to what happened, and just being like feeling tragedy for that guy as well, that he obviously, there's something else going on there for somebody to be abusive, to tell a stranger they're stupid. And for me, I'm very sensitive, and I am like, I don't talk that way to people, period. Like friends, family, strangers, like I'm not abusive at all. Like I'm always there to try to understand. And my automatic reply was to understand he was scared. But once the shock, that was like my initial kind of like shock, automatic survival thing, once I kept on walking down, that's when it hit me. And that's when I started like feeling really afraid and just crying and feeling so hurt and predatorized, and just like so many things coming into my head, just remembering that all these things have happened in the past when people have attacked me and I haven't been able to protect myself, and just kind of this feeling of like anger. Like I was already really apprehensive, didn't want to go out with the dogs, already feeling afraid, talking to my friend on the phone to try to distract me, and then this guy has this really harsh reaction to me, and just being like, oh God, is this just going to be more trauma that makes me not want to go out in the future again? And it creates even more of an aversion and fear of me with people, and expecting the worst to happen. But I was grateful that I was able to recognize that in the past, I would have internalized his words. I would have punched myself. I would have cut myself. I would have done all this stuff. Sorry. But I would have done all this stuff to really punish myself and be like, I did something wrong that caused this guy to do this. And the only way that I will be able to prevent this in the future is if I harm myself in order to try to, I think I just grew up in a religious family that was physically abusive, and I kind of connected that in my head, that if somebody makes a mistake or is bad, then you use physical punishment and, shame and hatred, and that's the only way to make somebody learn or be good. So like subconsciously that, is a thing in my life that has been like, that has been in my mind. And so I was conscious of all these perspectives, understanding how it relates to my trauma, but being grateful that I didn't harm myself in relation to him. I still felt really afraid, like feeling like wishing that I had a man there with me, because he wouldn't have done that if I had a guy there with me. Wishing there had been bystanders. I wouldn't have just been alone, because he probably wouldn't have done that. And just wishing like this guy hadn't been abused, and he hadn't been in such a distorted position to where this is his values to, it means he has so much more hate and like pain inside himself, but that is the way that he communicates to people, just like spreading hate in it. These kinds of things are just really, I don't want to, well, it's probably good to cry and let the emotions out and stuff. I was already doing that earlier, but hey, I'll take it again. I respect you, body. Thanks for doing your thing of processing. I'm not going to suppress it. But yeah, it was definitely a scary experience, and just part of my mind wondering like what I could have done differently, and trying to be like, is it my fault because I look weird? And I'm like, and just reminding myself, like, no, none of it is my fault. There are harsh, hurting people everywhere. And so I was really grateful I was able to have that perspective, and I was grateful I was on the phone with my friend, and my friend heard what happened, and my friend was able to say really encouraging things in the moment. I was so grateful that we were on the phone, and I felt less traumatized than I would have. But it just, so I tell that story to get to this, illustrate something I've been thinking about, but then the experiences tonight made me kind of be like, oh, okay, I might really be onto something. So, I think about my fears for the future, right? And I'm sure I know so many people relate to this, especially if you're kind of disabled like me, and you're kind of a creative like me, where you don't know how to make the creativity profitable, or like bring community, like authentic community into your life, but you aspire to it. We can really, we have these aspirations, but it can be this question of like, how do we know what decisions are right to make to balance, just to try to balance everything that we think logically will allow us to get to our goal, get to the resources that will allow us to have a safe, stable foundation and hope for the future, especially when you've had a lot of trauma and lack, like so many of us have had during our lifetime. So much unpredictability and lack of agency, lack of autonomy, lack of power through money. Money gives us the power of choice. It gives us the power of better access to all kinds of resources and experiences. So so that is like, some of the background perspective that we can be coming from when we're having goals, right? To where we want to try to get to. And then we have our emotions and our bodily sensations. And I've just been thinking how much energy I put into trying to get myself to be who I think I need to be in order to creatively express, be successful, get to this plan that I have in my mind is like, okay, this has to be like, this has got to be the only way, surely, where I can feel safe and fulfilled and earn money and have hope for my future and be a person with less suffering, especially. Bless me, hiccuping. So, we put so much energy to try to change our thoughts, to try to change, to feel our emotions and be like, oh, that's a bad emotion. I'm going to use CBT, change it around, reframe, be really positive, be a go-getter. And for me, I have really noticed that it's just made me more and more burnt out and exhausted and depressed because I'm putting in so much energy and nothing's happening. It's, it is, sometimes I get really jazzed up, like, ooh, I'm learning how to do something. This is a cool tool. It's useful in some situations. And then other times I'm just like, okay, but ultimately the circumstances I'm in suck. That's where my pain is coming from. And I have so many, just because of how my life has gone, I have so many limitations and so many layers of mental and emotional pain that just steamroll, because I haven't had the right experiences to rewrite a different set of actual beliefs, not just things I've tried to brainwash myself with to like automatically think, but like different beliefs that are actually programmed into my nervous system that, it's not a creative writing exercise. It shouldn't be when we're trying to process emotions and use words to determine our reality. Like, yeah, I can paint a narrative to be rosy and positive and looking at all the good things, but does that really mean that that's what the reality is, or that's just what like I'm able to distract myself by thinking on the outside? And I know everything I'm saying, there's situations where this isn't the kind of thought process you want to use, right? This is useful for some situations, not for others. But I just really have been thinking of, the example of what happened to me tonight. That is an example where I was in a situation I already didn't feel comfortable with. I didn't want to go on that walk. I was telling my friend, like, the dog's parents asked me to come out, take them out. I really don't want to. These dogs, I don't really like these dogs. I mean, I do. They're so sweet and fun, but they are so draining also. And it's so draining for me to be alone all the time. It's so draining for me to have the entire history of my life that I have and to not have yet grasped onto anything where I'm like, this is my magic. This is the parts of me that I threw out in the garbage, that I'm reclaiming, that I'm like, no, like these are essential parts of my soul, and this is the parts of me that I'm going to live through and validate to carve out the authentic path for me, not the authentic, acceptable to other people, on board with what I predetermined my path should be, but like the actual like, oh, I hear my thoughts and my feelings. I sense my thoughts and my feelings. And so I turn that way because I'm following what like feels passionate and open and strong and like control in a very nurturing way, the most delicious, nurturing, mutually beneficial way of control, like the leadership where you know that you are so safe and that you are helping to keep other people safe because you know that your values but because you know that your values and convictions are based on your suffering and your grief and the shit you've seen in the world, and that you still, it has really informed you as to just informed your values for what matters to you. And, I just think about how for so much of me, I still have so much things about me that I don't know how to talk about, that I don't know how to speak from the soul of those experiences altogether, and how to let it actually move me through my day-to-day life, my day-to-day choices, and really work for me to build those genuine relationships, genuine community, and genuine ways of making money. So, just when I was on that walk, I was like, oh, I'm feeling thoughts and emotions that are telling me like I am extra sensitive and vulnerable because of my lifestyle, that I keep on trying to tell myself like, it's all good. You should be grateful. You should be better than this. Like you should be, like everything should be easy for you. Telling myself all this stuff. Meanwhile, in reality, it is so stressful and hard for me to be at these house sits. I don't want to be alone. I don't enjoy I can't enjoy taking care of the dogs or doing anything with them because I'm so drained just by the isolation and loneliness and how all of the trauma and unknowns and fears for the future just creep back in. And I'm so bored of using all my energy to try to be like, oh, meditate. Oh, think in all the perfect right ways. Oh, use all my energy to manually control and manage every single emotion and thought I constantly have throughout the day. And it's like I'm chasing my own tail. Here. I don't even know why I use that phrase, but it seems like it fits in the moment. But I'm doing that, and then I'm just like, what I want to do is to have just some place of certainty and cutting out all the distractions that I think I have to do in order to be valid, where I'm just like, no, this is my reality. This is what it is for me. These are my thoughts and my feelings. I allow myself to have thoughts and feelings I've judged myself for it because other people have judged me for it. I let myself do things without guilt, without shaming myself and telling myself that it means I'm going to be doomed and it means that I'm going to be XYZ, or being afraid of people who will try to use it. They'll try to use it to, knowledge about me, trying to use it to trigger those past selves of me who did condemn these parts of myself. But we can't condemn ourselves like in order to try to gain the approval and community of people who they are like, I don't want to join that group of people who aren't able to be in touch with their own souls and what they actually need, and they're just, their version of happiness is based on performance, and that is what makes them feel good. Like, I don't doubt that's what makes them feel good and rewarded, and that's their role to play in the world, but it's not my role to play in the world. And my role, like, I really do best when I think a lot of us do, especially as people who are excavating ways to express our truths, way to express our experiences of being human. Just being able to accept the things that actually let us, if we remove any kind of self-judgment, the things that actually let us just feel like, oh, this is nice. Life was worth being alive. And having life be less about spectacle and wondering how other people are going to assess us, like constantly feeling possessed, like we're seeing everything through somebody else's eyeballs and brain. Like, that's how I felt for years. Like, I'm not actually me. I'm not having a relationship with myself in my own life. Like, everything I'm seeing through the eyes and mind of other people. And I'm trying to really get back to, like, having gratitude for my body. Like, thank God, body. Like, thank God that you are limited and bound in this physical world and physical reality, because you will not let me see anything but the truth. Like, thank God. Thank you. Like, like our bodies will not let us see anything but what is. Like, our bodies provide the dirt that can't be swept under the rug. That the thing that says, like, yeah, I know I'm supposed to think this is okay, but my body feels, no, it's not okay. And that is the truth from our bodies. And I just want to follow that more. And so basically, if I can kind of try to sum this up a little bit, that experience that I had tonight on the walk, it just made me consider, like, realize, like, whoa, like, I really am very vulnerable and sensitive, and forcing myself to do things that I don't want to do, forcing myself to do things that don't feel nurturing, and it's just not healthy. And not needing to necessarily make a decision in the moment, like I will, like, I just kind of told myself, like, because I, on one hand, like, I am making money from being here and I do need money, but just admitting to myself, like, yeah, this sucks. Like, this is, nope, no good. I don't like doing these house sits alone. I don't like the lifestyle I'm living. I don't like my limitations, my suffering, and just really realizing how dire my situation is, where on a day-to-day basis, I can kind of like numb myself, just be like, oh, I'm just doing all these little things in here, and I'm, just be faithful for the future, and just watch the movie and do a little bit of writing and just let time pass, and have faith. One day everything will be good. And then, I mean, not to say that I'm happy and like that on a day-to-day basis. Like, I have a lot of like fear and pain on a day-to-day basis too, but not extreme like I did tonight. Like, tonight felt like it felt trauma, it was a different kind of feeling tonight. And just, being aware, like, yeah, I think it's important to notice, like, things suck, and I'm glad I can notice that they suck. Yeah, there's things to be grateful for too. Like, remember that, of course, as like just contextual information, but like, there are so many things that just suck, that it doesn't meet our needs. We're not interested in it. Maybe we thought we should be, but we really aren't, at least not in this time of our life. And I'm just really curious to explore more, like, if I am following more of what feels good for me, what might happen? If I see myself as being somebody who has a lot of wounds from trauma, right? Yeah, you can see it as personality or limitations or, God forbid, flaws, all of this stuff, the normal kind of ways we see it. But or we're taught to see it, with therapy and random people. But what if I see myself as like, it's just me and myself, not seeing through other people's eyes. I'm seeing through my eyes. And I am saying, I feel you, body. You have wounds. I feel you, mind. You have wounds. They are rotting, maggoty wounds. Like, they are disgusting. You are in so much pain. I recognize that for myself. And I'm like, how about I don't go swimming in this dirty pond? Like, all my friends, I see all my friends out there swimming in the pond and having an awesome time. But do they have an open maggoty wound? No, they don't. They can swim and it's fine. But I have this, I have different conditions that I can try to suppress and feel guilty over and feel like, oh, it's not, don't look, don't notice, I'm not going to notice. Oh yeah, all the leeches in the pond are piling on me and it's so heavy it's starting to drag me under, but I'm okay, guys. I'm just diving under. I'm just having fun. Like, that's how I see it sometimes, and it helps me to have perspective. Like, I have to be more loving towards my limitations, because I think I put so much pressure on myself to get to my aspirations instantly. Be like, oh, I have to force myself to be around people and to do all the normal healthy things. Go to the park, be doing all this dog training, be doing all this, trying to write when I'm prematurely developed on my own perspective. And I always think it's worth writing. But I think if you're pressuring yourself to write because it's more about an outcome of trying to prove that you are worthwhile, or that you are expressing something worthwhile, or just trying to prove that you can do something, then I think that can be distracting, because it's not actually nurturing to your spirit, maybe. So, yeah, I'm just trying to remember, like, these things that I force myself to do, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. Jumping the gun, I don't really know what that phrase means, but once again, it felt appropriate. I don't really know what it means exactly, but just like doing things that I think that I need to do in order to get to where I aspire to be one day. And maybe I can stop forcing myself to try to perform all these things and be like, it's more quiet, more intimate, more me hearing myself, an even deeper level of me not shaming, guilting, gaslighting, ignoring, suppressing myself, my body, my bodily sensations, my mind. And me just listening and being like, okay, it doesn't feel good when I go outside. It's not like my only option is to go outside to exercise or to get fresh air. Like, I can stand on the porch and breathe in some fresh air, and then I can come out inside and do some aerobics. It's not doing me any good to force myself. That's something I've really always struggled with, trying to force myself to do the things that I think are what I'm supposed to be doing, or what I should enjoy, or what it is supposedly good for me. And maybe, yeah, it is within my values to aspire to do this thing, but if it doesn't feel good in the moment, just why? Like, life already sucks enough. Why are we not making life suck less? Doing, reducing harm, really. Reducing harm to ourselves and giving a chance for those rotting, maggoty wounds to not be exposed to the pond water. Letting them just like be out in the open sun, not like a sunburn, but a little bit of sunshine to disinfect. Actual disinfectants, like antiseptics, things that are like intensely medicinal, intensely. And I think that that's something to really consider, is if it feels painful, you have to also have a strong emotional conviction that like, it feels good too. It feels safe. You can't just feel pain and tell yourself, oh, it's just the sting from the disinfectant on this wound. It has to feel safe, because when you have a wound using disinfectant, like, you feel safe and relieved. Like, it might hurt, but you're like, oh, I feel relieved. I know that I'm finally on track to be healing this. And yeah, so just looking for the kinds of experiences where on a day-to-day basis I'm actually feeling good. So all this to say, I'm just reconsidering on a day-to-day basis where I'm putting my energy, how I'm using my energy, and just trying to live more intuitively rather than trying to hyper manage and analyze and control my every thought and feeling to try to portray what I think I have to be in order to survive. But I'm not just trying to survive. I really want to experiment with how do I get to the authentic meat of like who I am, my actual thoughts and feelings, my actual convictions, my actual joys, interests, passions, and let my life be all revolved around me. And that's the only way to be reliable for people or have genuine relationships, is to be coming from us, knowing ourselves. So anyway, just that's all I wanted to talk about tonight. And it keeps on saying that my memory is always almost gone, like the storage in my phone. So anyway, thanks for listening, and I hope it's helpful somehow. And I'd love to know your thoughts, how you manage, how you weigh all this stuff, or just what sucks. Just tell me what sucks. I want to know what sucks too. There's so much that sucks. There's so much that is disgusting in this world. What are your wounds? What color maggots do you have? I have some pink maggots. Okay, bye.